This story begins in the year 1993, where we are introduced to a man named Jerry, who works as a guide at a research base in Antarctica under the National Science Foundation. He has a deep bond with 8 sled dogs who live with him and are trained to survive in the extreme cold. Among them is a smart female dog named Maya, the most intelligent of the pack. One day, a professor named Dr. Davis from UCLA arrives at the base. He wants to travel to Mount Melbourne to retrieve a meteorite believed to have come from the planet Mercury. Despite Jerry's warning that the terrain is dangerous and that snowmobiles are too fragile this late in January, the professor insists the only way to reach the site is via dog sleds. Eventually, Jerry agrees and sets out with Dr. Davis and the dogs, facing many challenges through dangerous icy landscapes, including a moment where thin ice nearly causes the professor and their sled to fall into a deep crevasse, only saved by Jerry and the dogs' teamwork. As they travel, they face time pressure due to an approaching storm, and after finally finding the meteorite, they rush back, only to encounter more danger when Dr. Davis falls through ice into freezing water. Jerry, unable to go near the cracked surface, sends Maya with a rope, trusting her intelligence to save the professor. Maya wraps the rope around the professor, and all the dogs together pull him out of the freezing water. His leg is fractured, his body is soaked, and with the intense cold and an approaching storm, it's critical they return to base immediately. Jerry tells Maya, his smartest dog, to lead them home, and she, along with the rest of the pack, pulls the sled carrying Jerry and the professor back toward the base. Meanwhile, at the base, everyone is worried as there has been no contact with them. The pilot wants to go help, but her superior stops her, warning that the storm makes it too dangerous. Just then, they see the dogs returning through the window. Everyone rushes out and brings Jerry and the professor inside. Jerry praises Maya for leading them back safely. However, they're informed that due to limited space, they can't take the dogs down with them immediately. Jerry is heartbroken as he loves his dogs like his own children. But he's told his fingers are going numb and could be permanently damaged without medical care. Left with no choice, Jerry ties all the dogs in a line with chains and asks Maya to look after them before being evacuated by helicopter. As they descend, the storm intensifies, and Jerry, exhausted and injured, passes out. When he regains consciousness a day later, he learns no one was allowed to return due to the worsening storm. Despite being unwell, he pleads with the pilot to go back, but she tells him they must wait for the winter to pass. The dogs remain chained at the base, facing death if left through the harsh season. Jerry confronts the commander, insisting his dogs are still up there, but the commander refuses permission, citing the risk to the 200 people under his care and the incoming storm. The team returns to New Zealand, where Jerry desperately tries to hire a plane, but no one supports him. Expeditions have been cancelled due to what is being called the worst storm in 25 years. Jerry becomes even more distressed, knowing he tied the dogs tightly. assuming he'd rescue them in a few hours. Now, 2 weeks have passed, and the dogs have had nothing to eat. Weak and silent, they continue waiting for Jerry. Suddenly, strong winds rise, causing the flag near them to flutter violently. The sound energizes the dogs. They start barking, pulling on their chains. The freezing metal weakens, and one by one, the chains snap, freeing the dogs. The next morning, as they sit exhausted, they spot a bird, potential food after 15 days without eating, and they begin to chase it together. The other dogs set off to hunt the birds, but Jack doesn't go with them. At 10 years old, he is weak and has completely given up. Maya tries to take him along, but Jack refuses to move and remains chained. Reluctantly, Maya leaves him behind and leads the other dogs in pursuit of the birds. Catching the birds isn't easy, as they fly away when approached. So Maya devises a strategy. She positions all the dogs on one side and then scares the birds from the opposite direction, forcing them to fly toward the other dogs, who then manage to catch a few. For the first time in 15 days, the dogs finally get to eat. Meanwhile, Jerry is in deep distress. He's tried everything to get help but has failed. In desperation, he goes to Professor Davis, telling him he can't sleep at night, thinking about his dogs still stranded up there. He pleads for help, knowing Davis has good connections with the meteorological department. But Davis declines, saying any attempt would waste resources, and with temperatures around 50 degrees C and the dogs chained for so long, it's unlikely any of them are still alive. Jerry insists he wants to see it with his own eyes, but the professor still refuses, forcing Jerry to leave heartbroken. His dogs had saved his life multiple times, and now they were suffering. Meanwhile, it's been 50 days since the dogs were left behind. They continue to travel, surviving by hunting birds. One day, while crossing a mountain peak, one dog slips and falls, unable to get up. The others spend the night beside him, but by morning, he has passed away. The rest move on, but Max lingers, and by the time he decides to follow, the others are gone. Lost and alone, he starts heading toward the American base, where Jerry had originally left them. The other 5 dogs reach a Russian base. Each country has separate bases scattered across the mountains. The Russian base is open and stocked with food, and the dogs feast. Meanwhile, Max reaches the American base only to find it locked with no food or familiar faces. Hungry and exhausted, he discovers a dead killer whale and tries to eat it. But a leopard seal suddenly emerges from inside. It's a deadly predator that attacks anything nearby, so Max retreats. Starving, he still wants the meat. At that moment, his 5 companions, who had reached the Russian base, return and spot Max. Though they're all hungry and the dead whale offers food, the seal's presence keeps them at bay. Max bravely steals a piece of meat and runs, luring the seal away. As the seal chases him under the ice, the others seize the opportunity to feed. Max risked his life so his friends could eat. and the plan works. The seal loses interest in Max and returns to guard the whale, while the dogs manage to eat in peace. As the seal reaches the spot, it finds the 5 dogs eating its food and, in anger, attacks Maya, injuring her leg. Seeing Maya under attack, all the dogs pounce on the seal, biting it from all sides, forcing it to retreat into the water and abandon the food. The dogs finally get the chance to eat the dead killer whale and fill their stomachs. Though Maya is injured, they must move on. Meanwhile, even after 5 months, Jerry is still deeply worried about his dogs and decides to go alone to find them. He reaches the port in New Zealand to take a ship, but finds no one willing to go to that ice-covered region. Just then, he sees his entire team, including his pilot, the mapmaker, and even Professor Davis, who has arranged the funding for the mission. They have a helicopter, but it can't fly all the way to the base and back. Their ship gets stuck 100 miles before the helicopter launch point due to thick ice. They consider turning back, but the mapmaker suggests flying to the Italian base instead, which is within range for a round trip. From there, they can take snow cars to their destination. Jerry agrees, determined to honor his dogs, even if he believes they're no longer alive. Meanwhile, Maya collapses from her injury, and the rest of the dogs stay by her side, hunting and bringing her food. Their unity and love for each other help them survive the brutal 6-month winter, something even humans might not survive with full facilities. Jerry's team eventually reaches the original base, and when Jerry pulls the chain buried in snow, he finds only Jack, the old dog who never broke free and is now frozen beneath the snow. Jerry is heartbroken, but soon realizes all the other dogs must have escaped. Suddenly, Max appears with the rest of the dogs running toward him. Jerry and his team, overwhelmed with joy, run to them, amazed they survived. Maya, however, is missing. As Jerry prepares to leave with the 5 dogs, Max refuses to get into the vehicle and runs off. Jerry follows him and finds Maya injured, but alive down a slope. Overjoyed, he apologizes and carries her back to the base. They all head home together. This real-life story highlights the deep love and bond between Jerry and his dogs. Despite thinking they were gone, he risked everything to honor them, and fate reunited them. Before leaving, Jerry builds a grave for Jack, the one who couldn't make it. Sometimes the love people seek from others is found not in humans, but in dogs who love unconditionally. And with that, the movie ends.